It's important to mention that everything said in this video is based on my experience nearly 1 year after awakening. There might be things that seem strange or abnormal after this realization, but it's still part of this process, of this unfolding toward God. I'm going to start with a brief flashback before awakening. During my younger years in college, I quickly began to feel insecure. I witnessed my first street fights at school, which led me to believe that I needed to be strong. I needed to be intimidating to navigate those situations. Consequently, my apparent sense of self was built on the foundation of insecurity. At the age of 15, I began practicing American boxing, followed by Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I wanted to be a fighter. I wanted to look as a fighter. I wanted to scare and to possess the skills to defend my body if ever anyone attacked me. I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition for nearly 15 years, and it became a way for me to prove to myself that I was indeed a fighter, and I enjoyed the experience. In the 4 years before awakening, many comparisons emerged within myself through social media. I wanted to make money, seeking freedom through wealth and fulfillment through material possessions. Comparison is a key element of the separated sense of self, and it was very pronounced in my experience. I was obsessed with my physical body. I struggled significantly with body image issue about myself because I aimed for perfection, constantly comparing myself to others. I was afraid of aging, which also led me to my suffering. I sought to be with the most beautiful woman, which resulted in a challenging heartbreak that ultimately led me to discover a place within myself without suffering. So since awakening, or I could say since I found God, there was still this character, Tony, with his qualities and flaws, who is imperfect. Ask my wife. In the realm of human existence, perfection doesn't exist. Before awakening, I was a tease, and after awakening, I'm still a tease, but there is no wickedness behind it. We often believe that after enlightenment, we become holy. We are dressed in white and we solely do spiritual things. I'm not holy. I do what I feel like. I do what my heart wants. There are no spiritual egoic limits that tell me, oh no, you can do this, or you can't talk about this topic either. It's not spiritual. For instance, I love punk rock concerts, which often speak about sex, alcohol, and drug. But I'm not identified with it. Once you know who you are, you only act with unconditional love, with peace and compassion, because this is what God is. And I am now led by God and not by the spiritual mechanism of ego. So I'm no longer driven anymore by the individual sense of self, which has never enough, which craves for more, somehow always with the lack of wholeness. Most people believe that after awakening we don't engage in any activities. We found God, so we spend our days contemplating the walls of our living room because we found completeness. That's not actually the case for me. This human life continues after realizing God. But I truly know that nothing in this world will give me lasting happiness, because happiness is the absence of the sense of lack, and wholeness is within us. It's only by realizing who we are that we can experience fulfillment. I embrace and fully live this human experience more than ever since my awakening, as I immerse myself into this present moment. I don't live in a dream anymore. I woke up from the illusion, and the illusion is created by the mind with all its thoughts. I still do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I am married. I have a son. I have a job. I have friends who are not spiritual at all. I still have preferences in music, in leisure, in movies, in travel. I continue to take care of this physical body. I still hate the gym, but I don't identify with it. Speaking of marriage, there is a collective belief in humanity that we need someone else to fulfill ourselves. Until we find the right person, we believe we will be incomplete and unhappy. This belief is a recipe for misery. I educate my child with peace and love. Once he can understand my words, I will share with him a crucial comprehension. Life is a game. Never stop playing. Don't take life too seriously. Keep playing, son. I have a beautiful normal relation with my wife. Unlike before, there is no more conflict for me. I don't want her to be someone else. I don't expect her to be more spiritual. But I'm going to be honest. There are rarely old patterns of my ego that resurface and make me want her to practice more sport due to my past obsession with the physical body. It appears less and less, and this aspect needs to be polished. Sometimes she yells at me, but I am not affected by it. That's cool, actually. However, if I have to say anything, I will. If I have to express anger through miming, I will, and it works well, actually. But there is a laughter inside. During my path to God, I wanted her to be awakened. It became evident that this desire was driven by the spiritual ego. Having found the truth, I wished for her to discover it too. So I used to encourage her. Oh, you should watch some sad songs with me. Or you should meditate every single morning just like I do. And after this realization, I am somehow unaffected by what happened in this existential world. It might seem cold, but in truth I have compassion without suffering, and many individuals have asked me, how do we cope with losses? I actually lost two close relatives last month, whom I loved with all my heart. There were tears and sadness appeared, but I didn't suffer. That's the main difference. There is no one who suffers. There is no more attachment to forms. And for consciousness, there is nothing inherently dramatic. And after awakening, it's quite paradoxical because everything has changed, and yet nothing has truly changed. I have always been this infinite. This essence of being has been with us throughout our entire life. But it was veiled by incessant thought, by the distraction energy led by the ego construct. Speaking of thought, realizing that I am not my thought changed my life. Now everything is lived with this openness, free from the mind's interpretations, and everything is seen totally equal. No matter what enters in my field of experience, it's divine. There is only this knownness. I don't perceive any separation between forms, and it has become evident that there is only God. I see God everywhere through God's eyes. I live from this infinite dimension, and you have already glimpsed it, because this is who you are. However, awakening is not sexy. It's not exotic. Awakening is the simplest spiritual realization. It's simply the realization of who you are, and you can't understand it. I know that the psychological mind wants to comprehend it, but you can't conceptualize awakening. I had this shift in January 2023, so it hasn't been a long time, and Occasionally, very rarely, some remnants or old patterns of my ego still resurface. For instance, there is still a part of me that wants to be liked, or I have some negative body image issues due to the old patterns of wanting to be perfect. When these resurface, I remain still and observe, but I know that it has to be polished. It's part of this process, the unfolding into God. The main change is that I rediscovered my joy of my childhood, a wish I held dearly. And I knew at the age of 33 what was life's purpose, and the pursuit to happiness is into being and not doing. Happiness is within ourselves. Unfortunately, we don't learn this at school or from society. So I could stay all alone at home. It doesn't change anything. There is no boredom either. I'm here and it's perfect as it is, because here and now is where home truly is. Nothing somehow disturbs me anymore. Everything is done effortlessly. Cleaning my flat, navigating traffic, washing the dishes, or going to work. And when you realize who you are, nothing can be better than that. You are aware that you are awareness itself, and there is a ceaseless and eternal beauty in that. And you are also that. You become conscious of this invisible, boundless dimension. When I see others, I see myself. I perceive people fully realized, because you are this infinite beauty. When you are seeing me right now, in truth, you are witnessing yourself. Interaction with people has changed, because when you see yourself in every form, there is no more embarrassment. Even if someone speaks to you rudely, in reality, it's you speaking to yourself, and you can laugh at it. It's only a game. There is no separation. It's pure illusion, and God shares with each of us His presence. And nothing exists except this. It's so simple, it's right here, yet everyone misses it. I'm not afraid of the future anymore. There are no worries. I'm not scared of regretting my whole life when this body gets old. It's all an illusion. And the story of your life doesn't exist. What if the phrase, my life, was merely a thought? Understanding this can change everything. Be authentic. You don't need to play the role of someone kind just to please others. You don't need to be holy, because it's again a spiritual ego trap. I am. That's it. And from this I amness, kindness, love, peace, genuineness are shared. Because this is what God is. And if someone were to ask me, who am I? Who am I? Any answer would be a lie, because I don't feel like that I am my name, my nationality, my job. It means nothing to me. There is nothing more to add to I am. And thanks God to have this shift at this age of my human life. It's grace offered by God, and it's accessible to anybody, because believing to be a human in this world is too tough and painful. And I am here to help you through this journey. God plays to use myself to help you to find your true self, which is the same singular self. It's merely God's game, and we are all part of this game. And the ultimate purpose is to allow God to reveal itself within the depth of our being. All my love.